Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. I'm Sarah. On today's video, we are going to be learning how to make this very crop top. If that's something you're interested in, come with me and let's get started. Also, do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you. This is the fabric that I'm going to be working with. It's a crepe fabric, but it stretches a lot, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and draft the pattern for this. On the pattern paper here, I'm going to go ahead and mark out 1.5 inch, and the reason why I'm doing this is because on the front part of it there's a separation that will still go ahead to sew, but it's more like a v-neck type separation, so we're going to go ahead and add that on our pattern paper here, and then we're going to go ahead afterwards to get our neck area. Now you want to go from beyond the line, not from the center part of the paper anymore. And we're going to go ahead first. For me, I'm going to go ahead and do my shoulder measurement divided by 2. You can also do the same for yours, and then afterwards get your neck measurement. So for me here, I'm using a 4, and I'm just going to go ahead and measure length 7.5. You can go as low as 8 or 9 depending on how busty you are or how deep you want the opening to be. Now that V neckline right there is my neckline. That's what we're going to be using. So from this part here where I went in by 6 inches, I'm just going to come down by 1/4 inch and create a shoulder slope. I'm also going to do the same by coming here on the shoulder slope and marking out my armhole measurement, so 16 divided by 2. I don't know what yours is, but you should also mark that out just like I'm doing right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is come back onto this part and give my lines back to the bottom part. So I have 6 at the top. I'm going to mark 6 at the bottom, and we're doing 6 because I want it to relax on the shoulder. Now if your sleeve is going to end up being a pleat, then you want it to relax on your shoulder, but if it's not going to be a pleat, then you can go ahead and add 1 inch or 1.5 inch. Here I went in by 1 inch, and I have a tutorial coming up on the reason why I did that, so you'll understand better. Now I'm going here on my chest line to mark out my bust measurement, and I added my sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. Here I'm just going to go ahead and separate what I have, which is 8 divided by 2, which is 4, and I'll just go ahead and get my shoulder slope in check. The next thing I'm going to do is come onto the paper here and determine how long I want this to be. Now keep in mind that this is a crop top, so the higher you go, the higher chances of it becoming more like a bra than a crop top. So I went ahead and I did my number, and I'm just going to go ahead and rule my line here for you to see that this is how long I want it to be. Now over here, what I'm going to do, because it's my full length, I'm not going to be putting my waist measurements there. No, I want it to be so wide so that when I add in my elastic, or when I introduce my elastic, let me change my words, we are going to have a snatched waistline. So here I did my hip measurement instead. On the full length line, you're going to do your hip measurement divided by 4, and then you add your sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. Now on this same paper here, I went ahead to do my neckline for the back, which is 1 inch, and then I just went ahead to create a curve. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead to cut the back first before I cut the front. Now you see that every other thing is the same except the neckline for the back. So what I'm going to do here now is only cut the neckline for the back. I don't know why I forgot to cut my shoulder slope, but I did anyways. And I'm going to go ahead now and fold in that 1.5 inch so I can go ahead to cut the back first before the front. I'll also go ahead to cut off the shoulder slope because I don't know why I left it in the first place, and then go ahead to transfer it onto my fabric. You don't want to add any excess thing because you've already done all the allowances and everything, so you just go ahead to cut what you've already put on your pattern paper. But remember, I said we are starting to transfer first from the back, then we can go ahead and do the front. Now that we have the back in check, we're going to go ahead and transfer the front. Now for some reason this went out of focus a little bit and I did not notice, so I'm sorry. But as you can see, if you can see, I went ahead to open the part that I folded, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut with what I have first. Never mind the v-neck, we'll come to that very soon. So for the v-neck area, I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler to extend it into the 1.5 inch that we created. Now you can make this a curve, you can make it deeper like I said before, but I did that and I went ahead to cut it, and that is it. History has been made. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut the remaining parts out. After cutting this out, I'm going to go ahead and separate the front like I said earlier. Sorry this didn't really show, I'll do better next time. But yeah, this is what we have and this is what it's supposed to look like. So the front is separated just like the pattern paper insinuates, and the back is not. We're going to go ahead now and pin this down because I love to pin my work, that way your work comes out really neat. And after which we're going to go ahead and close this by 1.5 inch, just like the allowance we gave on our pattern paper, just like the allowance on that part of our pattern paper. I went ahead to cut out facings for this because I'm not using a full lining, so I went to cut facing for both the front and the back, and this is what they look like. So basically you just put your cloth on a lining piece and then trace out where you want the facing to start and stop at. But just know that the most important places are the places that would actually show, like the rim of the front and the back neckline. So those are the places you need to pay attention to close properly. I've gone ahead to close it with the linings that I did, and I also went ahead to add hemming gum inside to hold it down. I would go ahead later to weave the edges so they don't look as rough as they do right now. But yeah, I've gone ahead to close every other thing with the sewing allowance that we left, which is 1.5 inch, and you see how the front is looking with the 1.5 inch sewing allowance that we used to also close that part. So here we are going to go ahead and do the sleeve. The sleeve is pretty simple to do. So you go ahead and you fold your fabric first into 2, then you fold it into 4, and then you fold it into 8. If you do not understand what's going on here, I will link a video on how to create like a 360-degree flare. It's basically the same move that you do, but this is a little different because it's for a sleeve, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and place my tape onto the top part of my half triangle and then get the length of what I want. If you have a lot of fabric, you can do any length you want, but since I am managing my fabric right now, I have just 9, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark out 9 all through this, making sure that my tape stays straight and on top of the half triangle. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out now, and we are going to have a half circle. Now if your circle is looking more like a, I don't know, sphere, change it please. That's not what it's supposed to look like, but yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. So what we're going to do is first like give a little notch of where the center of this half circle is. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just taking my time so I don't miss anything and you don't miss anything too. So I gave it a little notch so I know where the center is, and then I'm going to use, this is really simple, I'm going to use the round sleeve of my armhole and just cut out what I need for this. By doing this, you would get the perfect sleeve for your top. In case you want to put it on any other kind of clothes, this is what you should do. It is perfect. So you have the top part and the lower part. I'm going to go ahead and place the top part onto the notched part of the armhole where I have my armhole. I'm just going to go ahead and notch the part which is the center, and then I'll put notched area to notched area, and I'll do the same for the lower part. And I'll also use my pin to hold this down, so when I go to my machine, all I have to do is just sew round and I have my perfect sleeve. You guys should actually try this. It's really simple to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. My fabric finished along the way, and I improvised and added this black lace. The next thing we're going to do is fold the bottom area, but let me turn this over to the back so it will make more sense as I do it. So we're going to go ahead now and fold this. Remember that you're adding an elastic to this, so I went ahead, I don't know why I opened it this way, but I felt it would be much more easier to open it this way, so I went ahead, opened it. We're folding by 1.5 inch, so half first, one. Then for the elastic, what we're going to do is you get your waist measurement and then you minus 5 or 6 from it. 5, 6, 7, depending on how tight you want this elastic to be. I'm going to go ahead and minus 6 from mine. I will go ahead now and fold this into what I need to fold it into, which is 1.5. So half first, then 1, and then I'll leave a little space so I can pass my elastic through. After doing that, I will come back and show you so we can pass this elastic together. I'm done hemming this, and I also left a space of 1/4 inch. I was going to do 2, but I felt like 2 was too much, so I did 1/4 instead. More almost like a 1/2 inch type thing. And then I'm just going to go ahead now and use my safety pin, and I used the tiniest one, so it was easier to go through that 1/4 or 1/2 inch space. So I would go ahead now and pass this through, and as I do that, I feel like you should also be doing yours. Yo, we've gotten to this part of the video, right? If you have, please not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. It really helps the algorithm show other people my videos and just let people learn more through my videos. So I'm so grateful if you do so. Thank you. Okay, back to the video. The reason why I'm using pin to hold this down on one end is because if you don't do that, it would just, it will follow you. Nobody knows how frustrating that can be. So please do as I did. Okay, after I was done doing that, I went ahead to hold my elastic down, put it into the cloth, and closed it, and this is what it is looking like right now. I hope you guys actually tried this for yourself, and I hope you love the process of making yours as much as I loved the process of making mine. With that being said, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. Don't forget to love yourself, because I love you. Have a beautiful day or night, whichever it is you live for. Bye.